give a testimony and pose as gang members to say restrict guns, gangbangers like us are dangerous. I exposed that, and the paper called me up and said, are you racist? And I said, is this a joke? And they said, no. And I thought it was a prank call and said, give me your number. I'll call you back at the Statesman. The guy gave me his number. I called him back, transferred through, got him. And I was like, this is real? And he said, yeah. Would you have done that report if they'd have been white being paid off? And I said, is that a joke? And the guy went to print with that. That's what these people do. Okay, that's what Bill Maher does. The mayor of D.C. says Asians shouldn't be allowed to live there. He puts an image of him up. Or the former mayor. Boom, it's racist. Bill Maher says Drudge is. This is how they operate. And they know full well that people aren't predominantly going after Obama because he's black. You know what? White people are the folks that put Obama in there, put him over the top with a big win. White people hoped this would bring racial reconciliation. A lot of conservatives who are kind of mainline voted for him just to try to create friendliness. Didn't work because the system never wanted that. It's about driving a wedge. That's why they want unlimited illegal aliens here to be put on welfare and be clients of the government who can then be legalized with all these motor voter things. I mean, I saw an article today where dogs are getting registered and able to vote. And they can then, that's the old trick of the book, bring in foreigners who will go along with the corrupt bankers that have hijacked the country to sell the nation out. This is treason that we're talking about here. And I don't just use those words lightly. So before I get into the news, banning of gardens, you name it, this is the type of comments. There's a whole bunch of them on the video that's at Infowars.com titled Stop Obama Dictator Contest, linked in red. Please email the video out to everybody, even if you're not going to take... And again, the contest just makes it fun. The $5,000 prize that I'll announce next Monday. I'm putting myself on a time frame here where it's going to move quick. I'll announce it Monday night on the Nightly News. We're on hiatus this week while we get some new people hired and finish up a few things. I've just bitten off so much I can't even complete half the stuff I got in the pike to be completed, so I'm doing another pit stop, and then we're going to relaunch the Nightly News 5 nights a week next Monday, and I'll announce the winner then of the $5,000 prize. But that just makes it fun. Everybody wins by exercising the First Amendment. And I see the comments on the video in there on YouTube itself, and it's, ha, 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 Alex Jones is trying to get you killed in a big way. See, that's the message. Why don't you, Alex, lead your pack of followers and be the first to make up a poster and post them everywhere? Well, we did that. We did that 3 years ago. We were the first to go out and hang them up. I go out in public all the time. Local talk show hosts have bodyguards. I just went right out to Bilderberg with no bodyguard for 4 days with plainclothes Marines trying to set us up with bomb threats. I'm not up here saying I'm a tough guy, but I always love these absolute cowards on the internet trying to imply, and there's some actual threats in here by some of these guys. These people trying to act like, A, I'm a coward, B, we're all cowards, and C, we better watch our back. That's the reason we're doing this, Jack. And I went to the guy's website. He's a somewhat successful black rapper that said this. And he goes on to say, including on your front lawn. Oh, the implication is, I'll get it. And let's see how it fares out. Well, I would really hate anybody that did something at my house. That would not be advised when I'm there. That would not be a healthy move. Number two, if I did live in the city, I would put some in my front yard. I live back in the woods, you see, with the woman and the kids and the dogs and me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a 4-wheel drive. And a 50 cal, and more, and still more. So, and still more. And so, and cameras everywhere. And still more. And not just the little French bulldogs you see on video. No, those aren't the only dogs. So I'm here trying to understand I'm bad and I better watch it, and I'm gonna get people hurt. Not if they're out legally and lawfully hanging up signs. And if somebody did try to do something to that, that's that person's problem, not my problem, that people don't respect free speech in this country. So don't give in to the punks out there that are trying to shoot their mouths off like big men on the internet, but never in person, that you better not dare hang up stuff and defile the great leader. That's why I did this 3 years ago. It was because somebody was hanging these up in Los Angeles, similar to what we had put up, an Obama joker, and they were talking about arresting him, and the news was saying, oh, it's illegal not to hang stuff up in public commons, but to criticize Obama. Local papers in Central Texas, the Kyle paper, called it hate speech and said, should I be arrested? Because people were hanging them up on telephone poles. Not because it was, they say, illegal to hang them up on telephone poles, because that's a commons, people have been posting it, then it's common law, you can do it. No, because we were criticizing him. Listen, I'll criticize anybody I want. People are like, on the other hand, they're like, Alex has got to be a Fed. Nobody could hang up posters like this calling Obama a murderer and get away with it if they weren't. Listen, just because you've never done anything in your life, just because you're gripped by fear, don't associate your fear with me, okay? I have committed to this fight, and it's nothing to tell people to go hang up some signs exposing that Obama's becoming a dictator. And the fact that people, A, are threatening us over it, and others, and B, saying it's impossible, no one could be this bold. No one could go with several thousand people over 5 days and bullhorn world leaders and heads of state at point-blank range into their vehicles. The reason we have the First Amendment is because we're exercising it. They're trying to get rid of it all over the world, free speech in general, and the First Amendment here. The reason we have the right to film police is because we're exercising it. Do you understand there's a parallel track of liberty on one side and tyranny on the other? And if we don't exercise the liberty muscles, they will atrophy and the tyrants will take over. This is an eternal, continual struggle over every inch of dirt. You know, I think about my grandfather, who always told everybody that he was, my dad's dad, that he was a cook in the Army Air Corps. Until decades after he died back in like 1981. Decades after he was dead, my grandmother had died, and my dad got his, well, my uncle actually got him, but my dad got to look at him. We got to look at him and take some photos of it. My grandfather's Army Air Corps graduation book, and then the letters and medals and stuff like that. And, you know, he only had to do the basic missions over Europe. And on average, yeah, only 22 missions. That's why I say catch-22, but half the time in those missions, they were dying. That's how dangerous it was. Imagine the people that did even more and never wanted to be known about. See, that's why we admire people in the military, is the memory of when our military actually went into situations where half the people died in many cases. Or I think about my uncle. You know, who flew helicopters in Vietnam and got shot up and was, you know, highly decorated. And I know, listening to the show right now, never wants to talk about it. That's the difference. That's what a warrior is, even if the war is wrong, in the case of Vietnam, is when you're actually facing other men with weapons that can resist you. Not cowardly drones flying around killing whole families so you can say you get one terrorist and then they want to use the drones against us. And then they want to criticize Syria if one child gets killed when the West is funding al-Qaeda to attack their government and that government's responding. We're supposed to get sad about the one dead girl, but not care about the thousands, well, millions of other dead. This is all being done in our name. And I think about modern Americans who are shocked that I would dare say hang up signs pointing out that Obama is becoming a dictator, launching wars without approval, shutting down power plants, gun control, legalizing illegals. I mean, this is treason. We ought to create a poster that says "Got Treason" with Obama, maybe as Mao. We'll do that. I mean, whatever poster you want, just exposing. $5,000 prize this Friday. I'll give it out next Monday. And then 2 Fridays later, $10,000. Just phase 2. You win the first prize, you can win the second prize. Do it now. It's about taking action. And then I think about how people can't believe that I would do something like this because I'm supposed to live in fear. And then I think about World War II veteran being forced out of his home because he's bankrupt and forced to exhume his wife's body. He owns the land outright and the little house. But now when you're bankrupt, they try to take your house. I guess he got tricked into it or something. And he parachuted in on one of many combat missions in the 11th Airborne Division. prisoners of war at Los Banos internment camp on the island of Luzon in the Philippines. Paratrooper into the prisoner of war camp because as the Japanese were pulling out, being defeated, they were killing all the prisoners of war. Parachuting in against larger numbers. That's what people were like in the past, and now Americans can't believe I would get up here and say Obama's a dictator. Well, I mean, I'm a hero. I've got courage. No, I'm not, and I'm sick of it. The bar has been lowered so much in this country, down to almost nothing. By the way, you know the story about that gentleman who was beaten to death out in California? What was his name? Thomas Kelly. Out in the same area, another schizophrenic person was beaten to death and tortured to death the very same way. And these videos get released, and they aren't even resisting, and the cops just take their time beating your brains out and breaking your ribs and breaking your throat. And I just think about what we've become. What is tough today is being a big fat bully. Is attacking somebody with a drone or attacking somebody when there's 10 cops and some 100-pound schizophrenic person, who thinks you're monsters. And to hear these guys when they cry and beg as they're slowly killed, crying for their mommies and their daddies, and the cops are getting all excited. I mean, wow. Steroids does that to you? Because, I mean, I don't know how somebody normally gets off on that. I mean, yeah, if you're in a fight, somebody attacks you, they're hurting you pretty bad, and you finally get the better of them, and I get being vicious and bang their head in the ground a few times to make sure they don't get back up. That's a satisfying feeling because you won, but they started it. I don't understand wanting to sit there and go brutal on men, women, and children. I don't understand how we became like this as a society, and I'm already digressing. When we come back, all over the country, they're de facto banning gardens, and I told you where it would start, Tulsa, Oklahoma. We'll be right back. Stay with us. We've got joining us at the 8 after break, second segment next hour, Daniel Estulin with breaking news. We'll get into the Europe implosion, a lot of geopolitical news with Russian war fleet, sections of fleets moving into the Mediterranean, a lot of big developments on that front. I'm going to get into the attack on true sustainability and just trying to be self-sufficient here in a moment. But first off, I want to tell you about some of the great products that I personally use and that are discounted and available at InfoWarsShop.com or Infowars.com. The Motophyllin is the best. We did a lot of research because I wanted to start taking this myself. The best brown seaweed, and it comes from New Zealand, so there's no radiation in it, from Fukushima. It's the most concentrated out there. I talked to so many experts, and they all said this is the brand. It's discounted with the free citizen rule book and more at Infowars.com or InfoWarsShop.com. Just go read all the amazing stuff it does at InfoWarsShop.com. Also, we're carrying the ProPure gravity-fed stainless steel water filtration system. None of the plastic and the garbage in it. Blows the competition away. Just look at the side-by-side comparisons. You can get 10% off on all the different units. My favorite is the Traveler that we have in the RV when we travel around the country. I'm getting ready for another trip soon, folks, and a new investigation. The point is we've got the ProPure systems, 10% off with the promo code WATER. Nobody has got it even near that price at InfoWarsShop.com. We also have the best for my research. This is what I personally use. Life Straw. You drink right out of a swamp with this. We have that discounted at Infowars.com. A new film exposing the dangers of vaccines. If you have friends and family that don't understand that A, it's not the law, and B, the dangers, the new film, it's award-winning.